After the Michigan primaries ended with another win for the frontrunners, voters are looking ahead at a likely rematch between President Biden and former President Trump. Here to talk more about this is our favorite analyst, Matt Makoviak, chair of the Travis County Republican Party, Democratic analyst Ed Espinoza. Matt, this matchup did not work out too good for Trump last time round. Will he have a better chance this time?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the polling that we've seen really for the last year and a half has shown a very competitive presidential election expected this fall. Joe Biden's approval number is among the weakest we've seen in the modern era of polling. It's weaker than Trump's at this point, weaker than George W. Bush's, weaker than Carter's even. He has a crisis on the border that's only getting worse. He has an economy that's very weak. In fact, is pretty bad for a lot of people as inflation continues to trudge along. Okay. So now, of course, Trump has some challenges as well with these legal challenges and his image. And so I expect to be a very competitive, very nasty presidential election this fall.
Ed Espinoza, the polls show that many Democrats are not very enthusiastic for President Biden to seek re-election. How can he convince voters that he's the right guy for the job?
Well, one of the things that Biden has going on in the Democratic Party right now is a lot of angst over the war in Gaza. And I think that that's something that the president has to address. And hopefully we see some resolution to that sometime soon. But what you're seeing in this race in 2024 is a rematch from 2020 and a very unique element here, Mike. You have two people who have been or are currently president. I don't know the last time we've ever seen that matchup. Matter of fact, I think we've only seen that once before. So they both bring their strengths and their negatives to the table here. What Biden's got to do is bring this back to abortion and the Supreme Court. And I think that the IVF issue that's made a lot of news over the past week is certainly one that people are starting to tune more into that subject and get away from things like the border and back to the Supreme Court and abortion. It's going to be a very interesting race in 2024.
Most definitely. Matt Makoviak, what is Trump's pitch going to be to those moderate Republicans and independents that do not like him, that he has alienated in the past? How is he going to turn them around?
Yeah, I mean, Ed's right. I mean, this is a almost unprecedented circumstance to have a former president challenging the current president, and to do it after they ran against each other 3 years ago. So we're in uncharted territory here, at least in the modern era. In terms of Trump's pitch, I think it's going to be very simple, right? In fact, this is actually going to be true for all voters, not just the ones you identified. It's, did you like the Trump presidency more? Was it better for you and your family, better for your economy, better for how safe you felt in the place you live? Or did you like Biden's presidency better? Both sides are going to have arguments to make. I think Trump's case is strong, and I think he has a very good chance of being successful, but it's going to be a very close, very competitive election with a lot of unpredictable things. How do the legal challenges get worked out? Does the Fed cut rates? What happens to mortgage rates? What happens with China and Taiwan? What happens with Russia and Ukraine? Right. What happens in the Middle East? Huge variables that are going to significantly affect the direction this race goes over the next 7-8 months.
Ed Espinoza, there could be a wild card in the guise of RFK Jr. Do you think he would have any effect?
No, I don't think so. I think that this is going to be a binary choice between Biden and Trump. And the unique element of Trump carrying 91 criminal charges and 4 different cases to the table. New polling out shows that 53% of voters in swing states would vote for somebody else if he's charged with those things. So, like Matt said, unprecedented in 2024. Should be interesting to see how it plays out.
All right, we're all going to be there to see it happen. We got to wrap it. Ed, Matt, thank you both very much.
Thanks.